Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. I was in a staged kidnapping scene with Luke Harrison's beloved White Moonlight. The set unexpectedly caught fire. Luke Harrison rushed into the flames and carried his White Moonlight out. I was tied up inside and burned alive. Ethan Cole ignored the danger, rushed into the fire and carried my body out. Then I was reborn back on set. On casting day, I was no longer upset about losing the female lead role. I directly auditioned for the third female role simply because the third female and the third male had the most scenes together. By the time the police discovered the bodies of me and Ethan Cole, I had already been dead for several days. Because I was an orphan, no one came to claim my body. The police checked my phone and found evidence of my improper relationship with Luke Harrison. So they notified him to collect my remains. When Luke Harrison got the call, he was at the hospital with his White Moonlight and thought I had hired someone to impersonate the police as part of an act. The officers explained that they only needed him to confirm the body's identity. Luke Harrison went to the station, glanced at my corpse and then with disgust said, "She's dead. Then burn her quickly. She's an eyesore." My head ached as though it would explode. Seeing Luke Harrison, I suddenly recalled the cause of my death. I had been in a staged kidnapping with Sophia Reynolds. The set caught fire. My hands and feet were bound. My mouth gagged. Through the raging flames, I watched Luke Harrison carry Sophia Reynolds out of the fire while I was left to burn alive inside. After I died, my soul floated above. I saw Ethan Cole rush into the fire and carry out my charred body. Ethan drove at full speed to his place, bringing me with him. My body was completely burned beyond recognition. Ethan Cole, his hands trembling, dressed me in a gown and then slit his wrists in the bathroom. As the blood drained away, he kept smiling at me. At the very end of his life, I heard him whisper, "Anshin, if there's another chance, will you love me?" I looked at the bathtub stained red with his blood and nodded heavily. "Miss Anishin, it's your turn now," my assistant called, waking me up. I opened my eyes and saw everything I knew so well. I had returned to the day of casting. I suddenly turned and saw a familiar figure sitting not far behind me. Our eyes met and he quickly looked away, his gaze evasive. I thought about it. Ethan Cole and I hadn't had much interaction, so why did he sneak glances at me during the audition? And in my previous life, he had been the one to pull my body out of the fire. Had I forgotten something? "Miss Anishin, it's your turn." My assistant nudged me, interrupting my thoughts. In my past life, I had auditioned for the female lead. After I finished, the director immediately decided I was the one. But because the investor was Luke Harrison, the female lead role was handed directly to Sophia Reynolds. The role I had secured was stolen. I called Luke Harrison to ask, but he said, "Over the years, I've given you plenty of resources. Sophia just came back to the country. The villa in Spring Hill is yours. Play the second female lead and support her." I had loved Luke Harrison for 7 years, had been his mistress for 3, and in the end all I got was, "Go and support her." I could only think how wonderful money was. The Spring Hill villa was huge, worth tens of millions, and with just a word Luke Harrison claimed it was mine. Miss Sophia really was blessed. This time I auditioned directly for the third female role. I had read her script before and actually liked the character. Besides, the third female and Ethan Cole's character were a couple in the story with many scenes together. I wanted to understand Ethan Cole. Sure enough, after all the roles were finalized, Sophia Reynolds showed up. The director once again announced that Sophia Reynolds would be the female lead. It was just like in my previous life. On top of that, since my face resembled hers to some degree, everyone said a stand-in is just a stand-in. Once the original returns, the stand-in has to step aside. They weren't wrong. On and off the screen, that was who I was. Sophia Reynolds smiled as she walked toward me. "Sorry, Anishin. The director thinks I'm more suited for the female lead. You'll just have to take the second female role." "Oh, she wasn't here during the audition. I thought she didn't know that I've taken the third female role." I smiled faintly and said, "I am the third female role. The lead and second female. You can fight over them as you wish." When Sophia heard me call myself the third female, her expression instantly darkened. She had been abroad for 3 years, and there had been very few reports about her in the country during that time. Suddenly, she returned, and netizens hailed her as the national best actress. On the very day she came back, the phrase washed-up actress Sophia Reynolds even trended on social media. Sophia leaned close to me, her voice low so only the two of us could hear. A supporting role is just a supporting role. You'll never be on the big stage. As long as I'm here, the lead role will always be mine. I waved my hand indifferently. Whatever. I didn't want the lead anyway. That evening, I got a call from Luke Harrison. Come wait for me at the Spring Hill Villa tonight. Mr. Harrison, I said. Let's end whatever we have between us. Anna Sean, what are you doing? Isn't this just about a role? I'm not making a scene. I'm serious. Besides, now that Miss Sophia is back, you can go after her again. Fine, Anna, he said coldly. But don't regret it. When you come begging to return, it won't be so easy. In my heart I swore. Even if I die, I will never go back to him. Back then, when Sophia Reynolds announced she was breaking off her engagement with Luke Harrison and suddenly went abroad, Luke happened to meet me. He kept me by his side as Sophia's stand-in. We signed a 3-year agreement and now it just happened to expire. Everything fit together so seamlessly, but unfortunately in my past life, I hadn't seen it clearly. Once the roles were confirmed, we quickly entered the crew and began filming. Ethan Cole and I really did have a lot of emotional scenes together. After a few takes, I grew more familiar with him. Ethan was genuinely quiet, hardly speaking, but I often caught his careful secret glances at me. I could tell he meant no harm, but I couldn't figure out what he was thinking. Several times I wanted to ask him directly why he treated me differently from everyone else. But every time the words reached my lips, I couldn't bring myself to say them until one rainy day when I happened to see him while I was driving. He hadn't brought an umbrella, and I didn't know where his assistant had gone. Watching him stand alone under the eaves looking so pitiful, I pulled over and asked if he wanted a ride. He hesitated, then nodded. In my car, he sat obediently, not moving at all. At a red light, I suddenly felt mischievous and asked, Ethan, why do you secretly look at me on set? At my question, Ethan's face flushed red all the way to the tips of his ears. He stammered but couldn't get any words out. Seeing him like that, I couldn't help but laugh. Is it because I'm pretty? Ethan nodded frantically. When I dropped him off at his place, he pushed open the car door and practically ran away as if fleeing. A paparazzi happened to catch a photo of Ethan in my car. And when it was broadcast on TV, the two of us gained a huge wave of couple fans. People were shipping us everywhere. My relationship with Ethan kept getting better. When we ate together, I realized he was extremely picky. As I ate, I observed the dishes he liked and casually served them to him. No matter what I gave him, whether it was something he liked or not, he would always finish it. Then it came time to film the kidnapping scene with Sophia Reynolds as the female lead. I didn't have any scenes that day, but I still went to set. I wanted to know whether that fire from my past life had been an accident or man-made. Sure enough, nothing caught fire this time, and the scene was completed in one take. In my past life, Sophia had changed more than 20 times. Now it seemed she had been scheming from the start, just waiting for the right moment. As I turned to leave, my phone rang again. It was Luke Harrison. The moment I answered, angry shouting blasted through the line. Anna Shen, are you serious about breaking up with me? You're only doing this because you've got your eyes on Ethan, right? He had seen the rumors about me and Ethan Cole. I looked at him coldly. Yes, I do like him. So what? You even sold the Spring Hill Villa? He snapped. Yes, I said. Thank you, Mr. Harrison, for your generosity. It sold for a very high price. I hung up on Luke Harrison without hesitation. In my heart, I still believed that in my past life, Luke hadn't directly interfered with the fire. But since I couldn't find anything on Sophia Reynolds, it had to have been Luke pulling the strings. Later, when I was eating boxed lunches with Ethan Cole on set, Luke Harrison showed up. I didn't notice him at first. I was still putting food into Ethan's tray, telling him not to be picky and to eat a balanced diet. Luke grabbed my hand and dragged me away all the way to his car. He ordered the driver to go. I struggled hard to free myself. What's wrong with you? I have scenes to shoot this afternoon. Luke pulled out his phone and made a call to the crew. Everyone can take a break now. There's nothing to film, he said. His hand slid to my neck. Anna, you've gotten bold. You dare hang up on me. I stared back at him stubbornly. Our agreement is over. His hand tightened slightly. Did I say it was over? The time is up. No matter what, we're finished. Hearing that, Luke's grip grew stronger. I began to lose my breath. No matter how I struggled, hitting and pulling at his hands, he refused to let go. Tears slipped down my face as I stared helplessly at the car roof. Am I going to die? In my ears, I heard Ethan's voice from my past life. If there's another chance, will you love me? I didn't want to die. I wasn't willing. Suddenly, the phone rang. Luke let go. I lay back on the seat, gasping for air, trembling, pressing myself against the car door as far from him as I could get. At that moment, I knew clearly Luke Harrison had truly wanted my life. The call he answered was from Sophia Reynolds. She had twisted her ankle. Luke glanced at me, then told the driver to stop. He opened the car door, not caring at all about the heavy rain outside or that I was a public figure, and pushed me out. Stay here and cool off. I knelt helplessly on the roadside. He had dragged me out with no phone, no bag, not a penny on me. Luke Harrison, you're truly cruel. I couldn't die. I still didn't know why Ethan had carried me out of the fire before. I forced myself to stand and walk forward. Every few steps I stumbled and fell, then got up again. Just when I thought I wouldn't die in Luke's car, but would die on the roadside instead, Ethan Cole appeared in front of me like a miracle. It's you, Ethan, was all I managed before I passed out. He was always like that, as if he were my last refuge. Ethan looked at me with deep distress, scooped me up and carried me to his car, taking me back to his home. I had been there in my past life. After my death, Ethan hadn't cared about anything else. My whole body was soaked. He gently laid me on the sofa, went to the bathroom to fill a tub of hot water, then went to the bedroom to fetch clothes. Ethan carried me to the bathroom to bathe. I stared at the full tub of water and in a blanket turned red in my mind's eye, just like that night with Ethan lying inside. I clung tightly to him, unwilling to approach the bath. He bent down and murmured softly in my ear, "Go soak in the hot water. Don't catch a chill. I'll be right outside waiting. I won't go anywhere. Don't be afraid." I tugged at his shirt. I didn't want to soak in the tub. "Then can you wash yourself?" Ethan asked gently. "Your clothes are soaked. If you don't change, you'll catch a cold." I nodded. Ethan carefully sat me down and was about to leave. "Don't go," I said quickly. "I'll just be right outside the door. Don't be afraid, Anishan. If you need anything, just call me." Through the frosted glass, I could see Ethan's figure outside. I washed as quickly as I could, not daring to close my eyes for even a second. Every time I blinked, the image of Ethan's suicide from my past life flashed before me. I threw on the clothes in a rush and nearly stumbled as I ran out. Luckily, Ethan caught me. He carried me to the bed, made me a cup of brown sugar ginger tea, and carefully blow-dried my hair. When my hair was dry, Ethan's expression darkened. "Your neck." He must have remembered the marks I had seen in the mirror. They were bruises left by Luke Harrison's hands. Seeing Ethan's regret, I reached out and hugged him. "It's fine. It's over between him and me. We'll never have anything to do with each other again." That night, I slept in Ethan's bed while he took the guest room. It was the most peaceful, secure sleep I'd had since being reborn. The only night I truly rested well. The next morning when I woke, Ethan had already made breakfast. Beside the bed sat a pair of pink plush bunny slippers and a dress, even intimate clothing, all prepared. I lowered my head and looked at the women's pajamas I was wearing. Does Ethan have a girlfriend? I changed clothes and came out to eat breakfast. The dress fit perfectly, exactly my size, comfortable as if it were made for me. After breakfast, I stayed at the table unmoving, staring at Ethan for a long time. "Ethan," I finally asked, "did we know each other before?" His face showed hurt. "Anen, you really don't remember me?" I looked at his face but still couldn't recall. "When you were little at the orphanage, I was bullied. You were the one who protected me." His words stirred my memory. Yes, I had spent some time in an orphanage as a child. I remembered seeing a small boy being bullied. After I drove the other kids away, that boy followed me everywhere. I kept protecting him until the day he was adopted. "That dirty little boy was you?" Ethan nodded shyly. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" I asked. "I was afraid of disturbing you. If I knew you were living well, I would never have shown up in front of you. He lowered his head. You wouldn't disturb me, I said softly. Oh, by the way, do you have a girlfriend? Ethan's face flushed red, his eyes full of anticipation. No. Then, whose clothes and shoes are these? Ethan led me to the bedroom and opened the closet. Every piece inside was my size, the styles exactly what I usually wore. They're all for you, he said. I reached in and parted the clothes. A black dress appeared before my eyes, the very same one Ethan had put on me in my past life after my death. My eyes filled with tears. Weren't you afraid I wouldn't wear them? Ethan smiled softly. It doesn't matter if you don't. As long as you're happy, that's enough. So that was how in my past life Ethan had forced himself to carry my body home and dress me in the clothes he had bought for me. I threw my arms around him and sobbed. Ethan, I'm not a good person. I really am not with Luke Harrison. With him. You don't have to explain, Anna Shun. Ethan said, holding me tight. I know. I don't mind. Suddenly there was an urgent knock at the door. Ethan got up to answer, unsuspecting. It was the property manager's voice outside. Ethan opened the door without defense. Luke Harrison barged in and landed a heavy punch on Ethan's face. Where's Anna Shun? I rushed to help Ethan up from the floor. Are you okay? Does it hurt? Let me take you to the hospital. Luke Harrison reached out to grab me, but I yanked my hand away. What's wrong with you? I told you we're finished. I'm crazy. I checked every surveillance camera on the whole road just to find you. And you want to end things with me for some pretty boy? Yes, I said firmly. Fine, Anna Shun. I'll wait for the day you come crawling back to me. Luke turned and left. I quickly helped Ethan onto the sofa and looked at his swollen face. Are you all right? Let me take you to the hospital. I'm fine. I don't need a hospital, he said quietly. As long as you've ended things with him, that's enough. He's not a good man. Once Ethan recovered, we went back to filming. But Ethan's role was reassigned to someone else, and all of our shared scenes were cut. I didn't need to guess to know whose hand was behind it. Ethan, though, didn't seem to care. I only took the role because of you. As long as you're by my side, it doesn't matter whether I act or not. The next scene I filmed was in a car with Sophia Reynolds. Halfway through, the car suddenly lost control and slammed into a tree. As I was lifted into the ambulance, one thought crossed my mind. Sophia really was insane. She wanted me dead so badly she didn't even care about her own life. I didn't suffer too badly, just a mild concussion and a broken leg. During my hospital stay, Ethan cooked bone broth for me every single day. Sophia wasn't so lucky. Shards of broken glass from the window had cut deep into her face. The doctor said even after treatment, she would be left with obvious scars. I was preparing evidence to sue the driver when he came to me first. He confessed that Sophia had instructed him to stage the crash to either kill me or ruin me. But that day the car really had lost control. Now I was alive and only injured while Sophia had been disfigured. She refused to pay the driver the money she had promised him. He had a recording as leverage and demanded $4 million from me in exchange. If I paid, he would hand over the recording. I got hold of the recording. Just as I was preparing to make it public, Luke Harrison confronted me. He threatened that if I dared to release the recording, then within an hour, the contract I had signed with him before would be plastered all over the internet. Even so, I had already decided to release the recording. Ethan pressed my hand gently. Don't rush. There are other ways to deal with them. While I was still recovering in the hospital, Sophia Reynolds suddenly came to my ward. She looked down at me smugly. Anna Shun, look at you. Even if I ordered the driver to crash the car and wanted you dead, so what? As long as Luke's with me, nothing will happen to me. But you, 3 years have passed and you're still stuck playing a supporting role in my drama. Anna, I suggest you be smart and leave Luke sooner rather than later. I smiled at her. Fool. Do you really believe Luke loves you so much? A selfish man like him only loves himself. Safia's face twisted with anger. If you don't stay away from Luke, don't blame me for being ruthless. Oh, and what exactly will you do, Miss Reynolds? Who even wants to be with Luke Harrison? Don't forget the real reason you went abroad 3 years ago. Her expression changed instantly. Anna Shun, how dare you bring that up? If it weren't for you, I would have already married Luke. I laughed lightly. Miss Reynolds, you're joking. Just then, Luke Harrison suddenly pushed the door open and strode in, coming right up to me. What happened 3 years ago? Anna, didn't you go abroad back then because you wanted to develop your career? I turned my head away, unwilling to say more to him. Sophia Reynolds also fell silent. You're both not talking. Fine, I'll find out myself. 3 years ago, the Harrison family business was booming. Luke Harrison was the true young master of a wealthy family. Rumor had it that he was deeply in love with Sophia Reynolds and engaged to her. But at that time, Sophia had looked down on him. At a business banquet, someone had spiked Luke's drink. Someone slipped Luke Harrison's hotel room card to Sophia Reynolds. She casually waved her hand and tossed the card at my feet. I picked it up and went to Luke's room. By then, the drugs had already consumed his mind completely. The moment I stepped inside, Luke dragged me down onto the hotel bed. Looking at my face, which resembled Sophia's, he called me by her name all night long. At dawn, Sophia appeared, covered in marks, and frantically knocked on Luke's hotel door. I was the one who opened it. She told me to leave immediately, and warned me never to mention what had happened to anyone. Soon after, Sophia suddenly went abroad. Luke came to me and asked me to be his mistress. He promised me resources and I agreed. Once I even tested him, asking if he remembered who that woman was that night. He told me it had been Sophia Reynolds. My fracture hadn't healed yet. They say bones need 100 days to mend, so I would need at least 3 months of rest. To avoid delaying the production, I decided to withdraw from the crew. With a broken leg, it was too inconvenient for me to live alone, so I simply stayed at Ethan's place. I didn't need to bring anything. Ethan was so thoughtful that he had already prepared everything a woman might need, as if he had been waiting for the day I would move in. Luke Harrison eventually discovered the truth about that night. I didn't know how he and Sophia resolved things between them, but he came looking for me at Ethan's house. I was curled up on the sofa watching TV when Ethan answered the door. Compared to his furious outburst last time, Luke looked much more worn down now. The moment Ethan saw it was Luke, he slammed the door shut. Anna, Sean, Luke's here, Ethan said. Do you want to see him? I thought for a moment, then nodded. Ethan opened the door again and let him in. I'll go buy some bones, he told me. I'll make you soup when I get back. I smiled at him. Okay, bring back a few peaches too. Such a short exchange, but it left Luke's face pale, his voice desperate. You and him, Anna Shen, I bought back the Spring Hill Villa. Do you still want to play the female lead in that drama? If you want it, I'll stop the whole crew and wait until you've recovered to start filming again. I pulled my hand free and gave him a distant, polite smile. No need, Mr. Harrison. He knew perfectly well that I had wanted the female lead in that drama, but he had still given it to Sophia Reynolds. Love that comes too late is cheaper than grass. I no longer cared for it. Do you want me to deal with Sophia? Luke muttered to himself, conflicted. She and I did have an engagement once after all, but I'll never have anything to do with her again. Anna Shun, please forgive me. I won't, I answered simply. The memory of burning alive in the fire was too painful. Almost being strangled to death in a car still haunted me. Whenever I thought of Ethan carrying my burned body out of the flames, my heart ached too much to ever forgive Luke. Is it because of Ethan? Luke asked. Just thinking of Ethan softened my gaze. Yes and no. Watching Luke's body tremble, I gave him a clear dismissal. It's late, Mr. Harrison. Please leave. I won't see you out. Luke clenched his fists but in the end walked away. When Ethan came home, he was quieter than usual. I hobbled into the kitchen to watch him cook. Why are you in here? He asked. Go sit on the sofa. The soup still needs time. Ethan, you're not happy. A trace of grievance crossed his face. Luke Harrison came to see you. Are you going back to him? I didn't understand what Ethan meant. I'm right here, aren't I? Ethan washed his hands and then scooped me up, carrying me to the sofa. I looked at the soft fuzz on his face and leaned over to give him a quick kiss. Ethan froze completely. The grievance on his face melted like snow and ice, and he just stood there staring at me, stunned. I had always prided myself on having a thick skin, but under Ethan's sincere, joyful gaze, my own face actually turned red. Don't just stand there staring. Go wash me a peach. I want to eat one. Ethan stood up, his whole back radiating excitement. Okay, I'll go wash you a peach. So easy to coax. With Ethan making bone broth for me every day, in less than a month I was already walking normally. Ethan received an invitation to appear on a variety show. The producers quietly let him know he could bring a family member along. I was bored at home and honestly tired of bone broth, so I went with Ethan to record the show. When the first episode aired, news about me and Ethan spread almost instantly on screen. Even when Ethan was punished, he still took care of me, practically creating the perfect effect the show wanted. Rumors of us dating hit the trending topics right away. Then suddenly, Ethan was accused of sleeping with producers for roles and linked with various actresses. The rumors came with proof looking completely real. Overnight, Ethan shot to the top of the trending list for all the wrong reasons. People assumed I'd been deceived and flooded my social media, telling me to open my eyes and leave him. Ethan wasn't afraid of the rumors. The only thing he feared was that I wouldn't believe him. As soon as we got home, he immediately explained to me that those rumors and the so-called casting couch were nonsense. He had only delivered medicine to an older actress at a hotel once. The footage only showed him going in, not coming out. I knew this was Luke Harrison's doing. The smear campaign was just a warning, an attempt to force me to leave Ethan. But he didn't realize that my feelings for Ethan weren't born out of a single project. This time, even if it killed me, I would never let go of Ethan's hand. Then, the variety show's producer suddenly informed us that I wouldn't be needed for the next episode. But Ethan was still required to go. The next shoot was set on a treacherous mountain. Luke clearly wanted Ethan dead. I handed the media the recording of Sophia Reynolds conspiring with the driver, as well as photos of her using drugs abroad. That instantly crushed the scandal surrounding Ethan. Sophia was arrested for attempted murder. The investigation also uncovered her drug use and tax evasion. It was enough to end her career forever and send her to prison for life. This time Luke didn't step in to save her. Instead, he called me almost as if expecting praise. "Yan's been taken away," he said. "I know," I replied. I was the one who had leaked the recordings and the drug photos. It had been Ethan who first sensed something was off between me and Sophia and hired someone to investigate, finding those photos of her overseas. "Luke, do you know why back then, when you asked me to be your mistress, I agreed?" I said. "Because you once saved me." 7 years ago, Sophia and I went to a small mountain village to shoot a drama. I played her younger sister. A sudden mudslide hit. A tree knocked me down and pinned my leg. You mistook me for Sophia and rescued me. I already died once. This life I've already returned to you. This time I want to live for myself. Don't do anything to Ethan again. If something happens to him, I'll go with him. Let's part ways peacefully. By the time Ethan returned home, public opinion online had already been cleared. Luke wasn't pulling any tricks for the moment. Ethan took me back to meet his adoptive parents, a simple couple who had adopted him because they couldn't have children of their own. They treated him well and were very satisfied with me. Ethan's adoptive mother told me, "Back then Ethan saw you on TV and it was like his life suddenly had a goal. He fought his way into the entertainment industry just to be close to you. But by the time he finally got near, you already belonged to someone else. All he could do was watch you from afar." I shook my head. "Silly. You should have told me all of this the first chance you had." "I was afraid I'd disturb you," Ethan admitted. "You could never disturb me. How could you think that?" I said softly. "Back when I first learned about your relationship with Luke Harrison, I contacted him. He brushed it off, saying you were just someone he was playing around with. That's when I decided to stay away. I only ever hoped you'd be happy, even if that happiness didn't come from me." I threw my arms around Ethan and broke down in sobs. No matter how he tried to comfort me, I couldn't stop crying. In my past life, I hadn't known anything. I hadn't known how Ethan had endured, quietly watching me devote myself to a man who didn't love me. I hadn't known the state of mind he must have been in to still choose to stay with me even after my death. Choking on tears, I asked him, "Ethan, if I had died back then, what would you have done?" He looked at me seriously. "I would have gone with you." After Ethan and I got married, we practically lived half retired from the entertainment circle. He seemed to love buying me dresses. More than half of the clothes in the closet were skirts. "Ethan, why did you buy me another dress?" I teased. "You look beautiful in dresses," he said. But I don't even like wearing them. You don't. He tilted his head. Do you remember back at the orphanage when uncles and aunts would bring kids in princess dresses to deliver treats? You always looked at them with such envy. I thought you were jealous of their dresses. I wasn't, I smiled faintly. I envied the fact that they were surrounded by love. But now that I have you, I don't need to envy anyone anymore. We traveled to many places together. Once at a scenic spot we ran into fans. They shouted dramatically, "Wow, you two are actually real." "Yes, we're real," I said. Such a simple sentence, yet it felt so wonderful. Beneath the glittering snow-capped mountains, I watched Ethan close his eyes to make a sincere wish. I pulled out a pregnancy test and placed it in front of him. 2 lines. Ethan burst into tears of joy, hugging me tightly and promising to treat me well for the rest of our lives. When our baby was 3 years old, I was holding her at the mall waiting for Ethan when I ran into Luke Harrison. Beside him stood a girl who looked strikingly like me. The moment he saw me, Luke immediately shook off the girl clinging to his arm and looked at me in panic, his lips moving as if he wanted to explain. He walked over and glanced at the child in my arms. "Is this your child?" "Yes." "How old is she?" 3. Luke's eyes deepened as he stared at me. "Anna shouldn't being with him. Have you ever regretted it?" "I have," I answered. At my words, Luke's face instantly turned dark. But I looked down at my baby who was grinning up at me, then lifted my head to see Ethan jogging toward us. I smiled in relief. But it doesn't matter anymore. I'm happy now. My husband is here. I'll be going. Ethan rushed over, taking our daughter from my arms. "How many times have I told you? You're already a big girl. Don't make mommy hold you too long. It's tiring for her." Luke Harrison's side story. I had never thought Anna would leave me, let alone for a man who in every way was beneath me. After Sophia went abroad, I rarely attended banquets. One day I received an invitation, and for some reason I decided to stop by. That was when I saw Anna. At first glance I thought Sophia had returned. Then I heard her companion call her name Anna Shun. I remembered it and had my assistant contact her. When Anna came to me, she wore light makeup, her big eyes blinking up at me, completely different from Sophia. Maybe my judgment failed me that night. She stayed by my side for 3 years and we got along well. We almost never argued. Sometimes she would act spoiled and make unreasonable requests, and I would indulge her. I truly thought we would continue like that forever. Of course, I was sure I would never marry her. But then Sophia returned. She asked me for a female lead role and I gave it to her. Only afterward did I realize that the female lead in that drama had been Anna, but I didn't think much of it. After all, it was just one drama. Bookmark. Go back online. I saw fan-made videos pairing her with Ethan. I told myself she had only ever been a little lover, nothing more. Yet, for some reason, an unexplainable irritation rose in my chest. At the office, when I overheard my secretaries excitedly gossiping about Anna and Ethan as a couple, I, who had always been calm and composed, suddenly lost my temper and exploded in rage. By then, Anna and I hadn't spoken in months. I went to the Spring Hill villa I had once given her. The door code kept flashing incorrect. When I knocked, a stranger opened the door and told me Miss Anna had already sold the house to him. I sat back in my car and let out a bitter laugh, then called her. She told me again it was over between us and hung up on me. Later, while having dinner with Sophia Reynolds, she brought up Anna and Ethan. A nameless fire rose in my chest again, and I stormed onto the set to drag Anna away. I could sense she had changed. There was a new openness about her, a freedom I hadn't seen before. In the car I nearly strangled her. But after shoving her out and driving off, regret gnawed at me. When I went back to find her, she was already gone. I even asked the traffic police to help me track her down. I couldn't say what exactly I felt for her. But when I saw the surveillance footage of her limping through the heavy rain, aimlessly pressing forward, something in my chest twisted sharply. When I saw the way she shielded Ethan, the thought of making him disappear truly took root in my heart. Perhaps I had really hurt Anna too deeply. After I used a few tricks to punish Ethan, Anna must have realized what I was thinking. When Sophia was arrested, I didn't save her. I thought that with her gone, if I patiently coaxed Anna, she would return to me. But then she reminded me that the only reason she had ever stayed by my side was because I had once saved her 7 years ago. That cut me deeper than anything else. It meant those 3 years together had only been repayment for a debt. She didn't know that on the nights we shared a bed, I had felt her fingers gently trace my face, heard her whisper softly, "Luke." There was no doubt she had loved me once. Maybe she didn't anymore. Maybe I had underestimated her feelings for Ethan. In the end, she gave up on me completely. 4 years slipped by. I saw Anna again. At my side stood a girl who looked strikingly like she once had, tugging at my arm and begging me to take her shopping. Her liveliness was just like Anna's used to be, and I couldn't help softening. Then I noticed Anna standing alone, holding a child in her arms. The moment our eyes met, panic surged through me, and I quickly pushed the girl beside me away, afraid Anna would misunderstand. I looked at the wide-eyed child blinking up from her arms and thought, if I had treated her better back then, would things have been different? Would we have married? Would we have had a child like this together? Marriage was a word too foreign to me. But after seeing Anna with her baby, I began to dream often. In my dreams, she was surrounded by fire, tears streaming down her face while I turned and carried Sophia away without hesitation. The scene would shift to a phone call from the police, summoning me to identify Anna's body. I had refused to believe that the unrecognizable burned corpse was really her. She had been so beautiful. I often woke up trembling from those dreams, sometimes so shaken I couldn't tell if it was real. In the dark of night, I would cry and call her name. One day, I suddenly remembered Anna had once told me she had already died once. In desperation, I dialed her number. The call connected, but I couldn't bring myself to speak. Just as she was about to hang up, I blurted out, "Anna, when you said you died once, was it because of that fire?" But it was too late. When I called again, the line only ever showed busy. That night, I dreamed of her once more. She looked young again, just as when I had first met her, her big eyes blinking as she looked down at the contract in front of her. Smiling, she said, "If I don't sign this, I'll regret it." Then the scene shifted to roaring flames, and I felt the same agony Anna had endured. "Anna, will you forgive me this time?" In the early hours of the morning, the Harrison villa caught fire. Luke Harrison, CEO of the Harrison Group, was burned to death inside. Investigators confirmed no one else was present. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.